Are you ready to take your love for Spurs to the next level? Because we've got some exciting news for you. We're amping up our membership program so you can get even more of your Spurs fix. Plus, we're giving you ample opportunities to show off your Tottenham knowledge and win some epic prizes along the way.
As a Platinum member, you'll get access to exclusive shows, Q&A sessions, as well as FIFA content. You'll also have weekly chances to win We Are Tottenham TV merch in our weekly giveaways exclusively for you, our members.
But wait, there's more! We're introducing members-only giveaways during our watch-alongs, so not only can you watch the game with us, but you can also interact and win some incredible gifts along the way, talk about a win-win situation.
And if you're a die-hard Tottenham Hotspur fan, we've got something special just for you. Our frequent Spurs quizzes will test your knowledge and reward the most passionate fan with some amazing prizes. And if that's not enough, you can even be part of our weekly fan shows and have your say on everything happening at Tottenham Hotspur. It's like being in the locker room with the team. Well, not quite that, but you get the idea.
All of this epic content and exclusive benefits can be yours for just £12.99 per month. That's less than the price of a burger and a pint at the Tottenham Stadium. So don't wait, join our We Are Tottenham community today and take your love for Spurs to the next level. Trust us, you won't regret it. Come on, you Spurs.
What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. Liverpool 4, Tottenham 3. Bloody Tottenham Hotspur. Bloody Tottenham Hotspurs. Why do they do this to us? Every single time there's another story, you know? We go 3-0 down early on and you're thinking, oh, the return of Newcastle. Is it deja vu? Is this just the replay with different kits on or something? What is going on? And then we claw ourselves back into it 3-3 right at the death in stoppage time. And Lucas Moura, what are you doing? Oh, man, what is he doing, Lucas Moura? But Jermaine Genius was, I think he sent out a tweet or he was speaking on some channel and he was saying that whatever you do, do not, I repeat, do not send Lucas Moura disgusting abuse on social media, and just cast your mind back to that night in Amsterdam and see he gave every Spurs fan a night to remember. You can criticize him. You can talk about where his flaws are, because his last 5 minutes in the Spurs shirt has been nothing short of disgusting, sending off against Everton, and then he does that. But there is no need for personal abuse on social media. That is just not called for. So I just wanted to say that. But let's get the guests on. But actually, I didn't even let you say anything. So go on.
I've got nothing to say after that ridiculous game of football. I'm honestly, like, Spurs is like a never-ending pain with Tottenham. Even when you think there's like a tiny little bit of pain, you might be able to get a 3-0 free draw after being 3-0 down in a season where Champions League football's gone anyway. Maybe we can cling on to Europa League by getting a miraculous draw at Anfield. We can't even get that little bit of happiness. Richarlison's first Premier League goal for Tottenham is overshadowed by the absolute madness of that last minute. It's so hard to take, so frustrating. All that hard work. I was so proud of that team for dragging our way back to 3-3 after being 3-0 down. I was so angry that it was 3-0 in the first 15 minutes, but we did so well to drag ourselves down. It just all gets undone in one moment of absolute stupidity from Lucas, and it's just beyond frustrating. It happens every year at Anfield. It's the Anfield curse. Last minute, something weird happened in the last minute every single time at Anfield, and it's so frustrating. But look, in terms of the Champions League, we know it's gone anyway. Europa League, at least the only thing I can take away from this game is that there's a bit of hope that
we showed fight
in that then for the remaining 4 games we have, that maybe we can get some wins on the board and really cement ourselves in that top 6. Like, because before today, I was even thinking top 6 is not. There's not going to be no chance we'll get that. But the fact that the second half against Man United and the second half against Liverpool have given me some hope, but we can't keep going into half-time 2 and 3-0 down. As much as I want to give Mason credit, and he deserves credit for how he's turned things around and given us performances to be proud of, we can't keep going into every game 2 and 3-0 down.
Solely on Mason, though, why we went
I'm not saying it's solely on Mason.
Like, it happens under a few different managers. So, I mean, it's clearly the quality of personnel that we have in that back line. I mean, I'm not going to put that on Mason whatsoever. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not. Mason has to take some responsibility. Of course he does, in my opinion, for how we set up. I think he has to take some responsibility, and he takes all the credit for the comebacks, 100%. He can't take none without the other. So, in my book, I think it is definitely a positive how we played, and hopefully we take that same spirit as we showed in the second halves into these remaining games, and we should be able to get some wins on the board. But these starts, I don't know, we can't seem to start a game properly at the moment. Last 3 games, the first halves have been laughable.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Romero was nothing short of shocking in those first 10-15 minutes. But look, it's not our time to have our say. It is your time to have your say. And let's start off with Ariane. Ariane, how's it going, man?
Honestly, it's going a little bit better than I thought I'd feel after what happened. I could sit here and say all the things that we're all thinking. I could sit here and talk about, Lucas's ridiculous mistake. I can sit here and talk about how shit our defense is and why we went 3-0. I can sit here and say, oh, it's Levy's fault for having Lucas at the club in the first place. I can sit here and say all that stuff. We're all thinking it. So I'm going to try and just get onto one, just try and cling on to some positives, because I think there was positives. You know, I mean, you're 3-0 down and you end up scoring a third goal in the 90, what was it, third minute. Like, that's a positive. So I think one thing for sure is, you guys said it, the fight we showed, especially against Man United and now against Liverpool at Anfield. Uh, it was incredible. I think that, you know, the boys are getting behind something, and that's something that I've missed. You know, it's giving me performances to be proud of. It's giving me a manager I can back. I can still stand behind Mason. We lost this game. We even shared the points, and we shouldn't have shared the points against Man United. But the performance that was on the pitch, like against Conte, we'd be squeezing results out, and sometimes even getting these draws that we didn't deserve a lot of the time. We're just playing football that none of us wanted to watch. But here, we're at least playing in a way, in a fashion, and with a style, and with a commitment, and with a fight that I can get behind. And that's something that at least I can look forward to every week, even when stuff like this happens. Another thing I want to get onto is Mason deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. I think he surprised a lot of us. And like Sim said, yeah, maybe he does need to take a little bit of responsibility so he can take the credit. But as you said, Ben, like, this stuff has been happening under like 4 coaches, 5 coaches in a row now. These bad starts. It started all the way back from Pochettino, because it's the same personnel in the back. It's the same personnel in the back. You know, I love Davies. You guys ever noticed? But Davies is still here he was there under Pochettino. He's still here under Ryan Mason. 2 Ryan Masons have gone by, and we still have Eric Dyer in center back, right? Like, this stuff is ridiculous. This shouldn't be happening in any serious club, and that's why we're going, you know, 6-1, 5 goals down in 20 minutes, 3 goals down in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and 1 goal down in 6 minutes. Like, this is ridiculous. At any serious club, you don't have the same center back that's now made 10 goals in 3 games have gone past them. That's a joke, and we have to keep playing him. Why? Because our other options are miraculously even worse. You know, so there's that, and the personnel, because of that personnel, you have these problems. But I think the way Ryan approaches games, and he makes changes, that's something I've just been dying to see. Like, he changed the stuff that doesn't work. He brought on Sarr to change up the system a little bit. He brought on someone, you know, Danjuma, and unfortunately Lucas, to just throw the kitchen sink at Liverpool. Ended up working before backfiring weirdly. So we have to give Mason a little bit of credit too, because I think he surprised us a lot. And maybe there's something in there, maybe not necessarily right now, but if he can go get some experience at, you know, a higher up championship club or a lower Premier League club next season or 2 seasons from now or something, or maybe even get a little bit of experience under Nagelsmann or some other coach we end up getting, that would be, you know, I think we have someone on our hands that clearly he's not tactically clueless. Like, that's one thing I think last time out, people were saying, oh, he just plays his mates and he just, you know, copies Jose's tactics and he's clueless in game. But I think he's shown today that he's not necessarily tactically clueless. He has ideas and he has ways to implement them, and he can motivate the players. So that's one thing that I want to comment on. I think he's done an excellent job.
What would you say to Klopp's comments after the game, saying that he was asked why they had so much difficulty holding on to the lead today, and he said the difficulty with Tottenham is that they don't change whatever happens in the game, and he said even when they were 3-0 down, we still kept counter-attacking, and when Liverpool kind of expected them to maybe throw caution to the wind and come out of their shell a bit, they still kept to their plan of counter-attacking, and that gave us some trouble because all of a sudden they started getting complacent, and Tottenham's counter-attack started to pay dividends kind of during that period. Do you agree with that assessment of the game, that the problem that Tottenham just didn't change throughout the game and stuck to their plan?
And that's a load of nonsense. I don't even know where he's getting that from. What do you mean? We struggled because you didn't change your plan, that we ended up just crushing you with 20 minutes? That makes no sense to me. That just, and he made some other comments. And one thing I want to say is Klopp is the most classless coach in the Premier League, maybe behind the guy that's playing a rapist every week. But he is so ridiculous, especially in press conferences. If he loses, he complains. If he wins, he complains. He throws shade at everybody. It's completely classless. But I don't understand what his comment means there, because the first goal did come from not really even a counterattack, really. I mean, no, the first goal was a counterattack. Second goal was a fantastic pass from Romero. Nothing like a counterattack. Third goal was a set piece. So I don't understand what anything counterattack related is, barring the first goal, which Van Dijk just got absolutely cooked for by a 34-year-old Perisic. So I don't understand what his assessment of the game means. If this is a Premier League coach, I mean, I think he just plays dumb. And again, it goes back to him being classless. It makes no sense. I don't understand why he does it, and it upsets me. And one other thing I want to talk about is, again, Spurs have nobody to blame except for themselves and Lucas Moura. But what happened with the refereeing performance this game was nothing short of shocking. Absolutely disgraceful refereeing performance. I have never in my life seen a more clear red card than what happened to Oliver Skip today. I just genuinely, I've never seen a red card that's more clear. And the irony is, if that's his hand, it's a red card. That's what's even crazier. If that's Jota's hand instead of his stud, it's a red card. So I don't understand what rule in any rule book in the universe says that's not a red card. I just don't get it. He's hurt physically. He's literally bleeding.
He had
High
to come
kick,
off. He had to
studs
come
up.
off.
He had to. And you know, I just don't understand in what universe that's not a red card. And this happens every single year at Anfield. Every single year there's some ridiculous refereeing decision at Anfield. And I've said this before, maybe not on this channel, but I've said I think the real reason that the Anfield Juju exists isn't because of some random, mythical curse. I swear to God, it's just you have the referee's least favorite team against the referee's favorite team. And it always should. That's always the difference. One goal, one goal, one goal. If Gakpo's penalty, it was a penalty, by the way. But I swear, if that happens to us, I don't even think it gets given. Because with Richarlison's penalty shout again, so many
That
things
was a
happen to
penalty.
us at Anfield that I just you swap the shirts and it's always a different scenario. It just always gets on my nerves. Something ridiculous always happens. So again, I don't want to blame the referee for what happened because going 3-0 down and like literally all 4 goals were Spurs doing. Every single goal was because Spurs did something stupid. So I don't want to say the referee is the reason we lost because they're not. But that refereeing performance was nothing short of absolutely shocking. They did not get really anything right at all. And they even like when they checked Højbjerg's tackle on Elliott in like the corner flag, I was like, "Are you kidding me? What are you checking?" It's the most perfect tackle right in front of the referee's eyes. Gets nothing but the ball. Maybe catches him a little bit on his toe, and they consider checking that for a red card for serious foul play. Are you kidding me? It was an absolutely disgraceful refereeing performance.
Ariane,
as well.
you can kind of excuse the kind of on-field decision because it's something that happens in a split second. But how the guys in the VAR room do not pull that back or do not say go and check it or something is absolutely mental to me. But there was another challenge in the first half by Ollie Skip, studs up on the ankle. Do you think that was a sending off?
I saw it, and in the moment I thought it could have been a sending off, especially because they replayed it in slow motion. But I don't think it was high enough on like people are making out like it was like Lucas's challenge against Everton. That one was a red card, and I think I said it. But I don't think this one was really similar because he came in going for the ball and he didn't like it wasn't a studs up challenge. What he did was he went for the ball, and you have to flex your feet up a little bit, but it wasn't like a studs up challenge on his ankle. I don't think that was a red card. And Robertson did exactly that against Tanganga 2 years ago. And I remember it because it pissed me off, and that wasn't given as a red card. So if that's not given a red card, then it shouldn't be given a red card now. So Liverpool fans have nothing to complain about.
I want to ask you about Porro, Ariane, because we kind of saw both sides to Porro today, didn't we? First half, he was just all at sea at the back, like we've seen a lot of the time. But actually, in the second half, to his credit, when as Spurs got better, he grew an influence, didn't he? And he started to really dominate that right-hand side, I felt, and really was causing problems for Liverpool. And that makes it all the more frustrating that Lucas came on for him, so there was no need for it. But do you think, like, we saw maybe what Porro can give us? Because a lot of people have been criticising him, and look, rightly so with his defending, but maybe he doesn't get the credit for what he can bring for us going forward.
Yeah, especially shots from the halfway line.
Yeah, I think he got our first shot on target, didn't he? But here's the thing with Porro. I think I get what you mean with the criticism being valid, and it is to his defending. But like this is exactly the Pedro Porro that we signed. I think some people are forgetting Pedro Porro has never been defensively solid. Like even the last game he played before we signed him, he ended up he was the reason that Benfica conceded. Or not Benfica, sorry. Sporting conceded a equalizer, but then he actually went on to score a penalty like right in like 4 minutes right afterwards. This is the same Pedro Porro. He has not dipped in form. He is a offensive wingback that is more similar in nature to a winger than a defender. We have the opposite. His name is Emerson Royale, and we get frustrated with both of them. You cannot have. It's very rare you have someone that can do the best of both worlds because there's also a defensive risk that is associated with attacking, and that is often why Pedro Porro gets exposed. Maybe not for the first goal, he was just doing poor marking, but we signed a player that is offensive, and the way you operate in a back three with wing backs that are this like offensively talented is you don't berate them for their defending. You sign defenders that can cover for them and let them use their talent going forward. So I've seen people who at halftime I saw people say sell Romero and sell Pedro Porro on my time, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen because we've seen the side of Pedro Porro that is magnificent going forward, and we've seen the side of Romero that is also is magnificent both in our defensive half and in the offensive half today with the pass to Son. Has he made mistakes? Absolutely, but he has to cover for donkeys like Dyer and unfortunately today a little bit Davies. And I improved the second half, but first half he's absolutely shocking. And it's like Vertonghen when he was first at the club. Until Toby came, Vertonghen was fucking useless.
Yeah.
Maybe not useless, but again, same
No,
thing
he
with
was
Romero.
poor,
Like
you're right.
you need, yeah, you need players around quality players. You just can't have one quality player and expect him to lift the whole back line, especially when he's the only capable center back. It's ridiculous that people are calling for him to get sold or for Porro to get sold. Like you can't, you can't pick out the good players and lump them in with the bad players because a back line, it's not like the thing people don't realize is it's very rare that the back line functions the same way as the front line, because in the front line you can have a moment of brilliance, you can dribble through a whole team and score, you can score an absolute worldie. You can't defend a 3-on-1 one person at a time. You just can't do it. And you have one competent center back trying to get 3-4 players, because Dyer is useless. Davies was absolutely shocking in the first 20 minutes. And yeah, Romero made a mistake. He made a poor pass, and then like 5 minutes later, he ended up conceding a penalty. Everybody makes mistakes. He got yellow cards, he got red cards for us. He makes mistakes, but you have to remember he's covering for literally 2 other people's jobs at the back. To criticize him and say he's part of the problem is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the second half in this game and the second half in the Manchester United game, we've probably got more to be proud about in those 2 games than we have done for the last couple of months being a Spurs fan.
Yeah,
Ryan
sure.
Mason in charge. With Ryan Mason, is there any sort of opportunity in your mind that he is putting himself in the conversation to be permanent manager?
I will absolutely shamelessly say 100% he is putting himself in that conversation. Am I going to take him over Nagelsmann? No, because I think Nagelsmann is a generational once in a generation coach. Am I taking him over maybe someone like a Postecoglou or even a Slot? Or personally, I just hate Enrique, so I'm not gonna name him, but I would take him over Enrique, but just because I hate Enrique. So you have these coaches' names, and I think there's a value to Mason being so connected to the club, and the main concern everyone had with Mason, like I think he showed this in his first stint, really is he did this in the first stint where we actually started games poorly last time too. And at halftime, we came back. Southampton, I remember especially. So at halftime, we went 1-0 down. And at halftime, we came back and we ended up winning the game 2-1 in the end. And everyone was saying like he's able to motivate the players because he feels the connection to the club that the fans do and the players should. But people like Conte or people like Mourinho don't necessarily have that same connection. And I think that is a side of him that we've known existed. But a lot of people had the concern that he was just a tactically clueless manager. Like just he's kind of riding along using his like aura or something just to get by. And I think that was a bit of a more fair criticism the first time out because he wasn't as well-rounded as he is now. He's got a couple more years under some of the best managers the sport has ever seen. So I think you can tell that he's kind of getting a hold of these ideas a little bit more. And because of that, I think maybe it's a little bit too soon now, but especially if we're going to go in the direction of getting rid of Son and Kane and building around a young team, I wouldn't, like I said, I would take Nagelsmann over him because he's a generational coach. But Ryan Mason, I think, has the connection, and I think now he's beginning to acquire the tools to be able to guide Spurs somewhere. I think ideally what we would do is we would at least get Nagelsmann and send Mason off to another club to get his own experience, or even honestly, I wouldn't mind if Mason stays as assistant again and gets a little more experience that way. But I think he's on the verge of being experienced enough for me to be able to trust him because he's shown that he's able to change things tactically, not just motivationally at halftime. Because we in his first thing completely were hanging on to that halftime team talk. That's all we had. Every time we looked bad, if we didn't look better at halftime, the game was over. We saw that against Leeds. But I think this time, even in like the 40th minute or in the 60th minute, you see Son going around whispering in Sarr's ear. He's making tactical changes, and they paid off. They did pay off. And, unfortunately, Lucas had to ruin all of it in the end. But I think he's shown in the last 2 games that he's able to change things in a football way, not in just a human way that he was able to do last time. So I think he's beginning to shape himself as a coach, and he's getting a philosophy. You can tell he likes to go forward. He likes to play the Tottenham way, and we can get behind that.
Yeah, so Ariane, you say that he's tactically obviously a lot better than we all gave him credit for. He knows how to motivate the players. So why do you think he's not ready?
It's not that I think he's not ready. It's that I think I really only would take Nagelsmann over him because Nagelsmann is just. I put Nagelsmann in the pinnacle of coach's quality. I mean, you're talking about a guy who took a fifth-tier team to the Champions League. Nagelsmann is just one of those coaches you just see once in a lifetime. He's a magnificent coach. That's really the only reason I pass up Mason. But if Nagelsmann says no, and Spurs announce tomorrow that they're going to give it to Mason permanently, I would 100% be behind it. Because there's also one thing about Mason that if we're struggling or if we're doing poorly, I think there's a value that his connection to the club has that I think people dismiss, because that he loves the club, that he's committed to the club, and that was always a problem with Conte. You never know. He's a mercenary. Is he going to dip next year? Is he going to just throw everyone under the bus? And he ended up doing it towards the end. But with Mason, that's never a concern. You're always free thinking you can just be behind the coach. And if we lose 3 or 4 games in a row under Conte, that builds pressure, that builds anger, and Conte starts slamming out of the club, slamming out of the players. But if we lose 4 or 5 games under Mason or we play poorly, I can still get behind it because I know, I think the connection he has to the club is a little bit similar to Poch. You can get behind a manager who has a connection. You can still back him because you feel like he's in the same boat as you. But necessarily with Mourinho and with Conte, sometimes it feels like they're not in the same boat as you. It feels like they're kind of riding their own ship. But as long as I feel like Mason is someone that we can trust, he's going to build with us. And yeah, that's really it. I would absolutely take him. I think he has shown that he is ready, if we decide to trust him, and I trust him. But there's just the only roadblock is just I think Nagelsmann is just such a fantastic opportunity that if you have the opportunity to get Nagelsmann, you don't say no. That's really just the way I look at it.
Fair enough, Ariane. Thanks for coming on today, and we'll speak to you next time.
Yeah, fantastic. Love talking to you guys. And as always, come on, you Spurs!
Come on. Big up, Ariane. And let's go to my grandpa next. And he's got a big smile on his face. Even though we lost today, he must be bringing a lot of positives after that game today. So let's see what he has to say. How you doing, Grandpa?
Hi, I'm doing well. I almost broke the television shouting at it on my own here. Yeah, I mean, one thing sticks in my mind, the old saying that the best form of defense is attack. And as soon as we started to attack, you didn't have to worry about the defensive side because we had the ball down their side and we were getting their balls and we were fighting them. When you're defending, you're always going backwards. And I think that's the problem, or one of the problems anyway. So it was very exciting. And I think the courage that they came back, I don't put it totally down to the managers. I actually put it down to the players. I think the players themselves actually, were shocked to the way it started and actually gradually got it back. And it was the players that fought. I thought Son was outstanding in terms of the way he was fighting and running and, and I think somebody, I've only heard one of your other guests, but somebody was talking about the referee. I thought it was appalling. I think the penalty of Charleston was definitely a penalty. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And how he didn't give it, I'm not sure even if VAR said anything. But it was
a strange one, wasn't it, Grandpa? Because that one VAR didn't seem to get involved. The high foot from Jota into the face of Ollie Skip. I mean, that was Ryan Mason called it the biggest red card he's ever seen.
It kicked him in the face. Yeah, he absolutely kicked him in the face. Blood was pouring out, so it was obvious. And how he didn't give him a red card, I just don't know. And a lot of the other decisions, I think, weren't going our way. And we had some, we hit the bar 3 times. Yeah. The first time it was offside, but the 2, we were very, very close. And giving away that last goal because we went into defensive mode. He passed back, didn't he, Mora?
Lord Lucas, yeah.
Instead of going forwards. and that was the problem. But let's keep moving forward. Let's show this fight in the last matches, because we're not going to get in top four now. Even I don't think so. It's
Well, if
impossible.
Grandpa's given up, then I think it's safe to say we're not getting top four. That's for sure.
I haven't given up on Spurs. I haven't given up on Spurs. I'm still believe that they've got some good players there. They need a few additional ones, and we need some decent management. We need. I don't know if you heard. Did you hear Kane's interview that he made just before the Manchester City match?
Yes,
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that it was very interesting because, in fact, I think he said, "Well, what we've lost, what Spurs have lost, is our values." And I think that was a crack at Levy. I think he was very media conscious, but he still said that, and he said it several times that we've lost our values that we had 5 years ago, and I think that's right. We've got in, and one of the values was we were always an attacking team, and we lost that. Conte brought it in, and everybody followed it, and I think that's the biggest problem.
Talking about management and values, Mason now has had 2 games in charge. We've definitely seen an improvement definitely in second half displays, coming back from 2-0 down against Man United and coming back from 3-0 down against Liverpool in impressive fashion. Is he showing his managerial chops for you, or how do you assess these 2 games? Is it too early to tell in terms of if he's really putting his hat in the ring for the permanent job?
Well, he's definitely putting his hat in the ring, the way he's talking and his conference and things like that. I don't think he's ready, and I think he's been too long under people like Conte. And he's been there, so he's learned that way. Has he learned to do anything different? Because there was bits he was doing differently, I know, but I don't think he's ready. I think one of your other guys said he should go to another club and get some experience and then come back. But I don't think he's the right person yet. He seems to be too young, and I don't think strong enough. And he's got no credits underneath him. You say this is a credit with his last 2 matches because he came back in the second half. But if we started attacking right at the beginning, and he showed a bit more courage in terms of the team, but it was the same team, 5 at the back, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I thought, that's not the way it's got to be. We've got to be 4-5-2, in my view, and we've got to have better wingers. The best wingers around at the moment are 2 ex-Spurs players, aren't they?
Who's that? The two best wingers around are 2 ex-Spurs players.
Yeah. What's his name? My memory for names. What's this? Trippier? There's one.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Wolf wingbacks?
Yeah, wingbacks. Yeah.
Yeah. Trippier's definitely one. That's definitely, and Walker.
And Walker, yeah, that's right. That's the other one. Two great wingbacks, and they were our players. We've let too many good people go. That's the other challenge I think that we've got.
And
we're not recognised.
And good enough players as well.
Yeah, and we've not brought in good enough players. And I think that's down to, in the end, it's down to Levy's choice of managers and coaches. And that's where he's made his mistakes. I'm hoping that he learned his lesson and he'll pay this money for Nagelsmann and he'll take him on. But apparently Nagelsmann is demanding a lot of money and the club is demanding a lot of money. But I think he should pay it. I think he shouldn't save the money, don't have a sporting director, make him the sporting director and the coach, and probably keep Mason on as a coach with him, and let's see if he can grow under Nagelsmann. Because I think you believe that Nagelsmann will only come for a year and then they go off to City. Well, if
that's company.
Oh, that's company, is it? Okay. But anyway, he'll learn from Nagelsmann or whoever comes, and we can start to see him actually learning and being able to play a different way.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. That's my
Yeah,
thoughts.
I think that's pretty spot on, to be honest. And when you're looking at Ryan Mason, he's worked now under, Pochettino as a player, Mourinho, Antonio Conte as a coach. And if he has another stint under Nagelsmann, I mean, you can't really work under much better managers, can you? And will get much better experiences than that. So I think if he's showing already the tactical awareness that he is showing, I mean, another stint under Nagelsmann, maybe he will be ready to take over Spurs in the next, however long our next manager is in for.
Yeah, because he'll learn the different ways, which he's learning, and he'll grow up. He's still quite young, isn't he?
I mean, he should still be playing. That's the honest truth.
He's 31, so Nagelsmann, to be fair, started managing when he was 29. So it does happen. In terms of like obviously where we're going to finish now, what these last two performances have convinced you of, we're now sixth. Liverpool are ahead of us now with a game in hand. We're now level on points with Aston Villa on the same games, and Brighton are now 2 points behind us with 3 games in hand at the moment. So when you're looking at like Europa League, is these two performances enough to convince you that maybe from now to the end of the season we could actually put last 4 games, we can get some good performances and good results and get that last Europa League spot? Or do you think maybe there's too much damage done at this point?
Well, I think it's not totally in our hands, because some of the other teams that we're fighting for have got to lose as well as us win.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not totally in our hands. Some of these younger teams are really coming
Brighton
on.
is in Brighton and Liverpool's hands at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful, and I believe that. Let's see. I mean, it'll be really, really interesting to see the next matches, to see if we can attack from the beginning. If they learn, what they could do is learn from those last matches where we've lost a goal in the first 2 minutes. 3 times now we've lost a goal in the first 2 minutes. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
No, and we lose goals in the first 2 minutes, and also in 4 of our last 7 games we've lost goals in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, we must be on for some record of the number of goals that we've lost in the last 3 months.
The life of a Tottenham Hotspur fan, eh, Grandpa?
Yeah, but it's exciting. Keep being excited about it, because the last 2 games have been really a joy to watch.
Yeah.
When you see them start to attack, and they're playing good football, and the other sides fall apart as soon as we start to attack.
Yeah.
But we let them attack without us attacking first, and that's what we've got to work on doing, and get some better people at the back. I mean, Dyer, I thought again probably was the worst player in the match. Yeah, he was Dyer. He was Dyer. Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Grandpa,
guys.
Always a pleasure to speak to you, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye. I mean, let's be honest, not many teams go to Anfield, score 3 goals, and hit the woodwork 3 times as well on top of that.
True.
I mean,
Absolutely
it's
right.
just so frustrating, isn't it? It's so Tottenham to do that, to come back from 3-0 down and then do what Lucas Moura did. It's almost unforgivable, to be honest, that pass.
The way the league table is shaping up, that Tottenham Villa game is shaping up to be a Conference League playoff at the moment.
God. So what? The winner gets Conference League or the loser?
The winner.
So we want to lose.
Yeah, essentially. Because I think
You know what? Yeah, everyone's been going on about, I want Tottenham to lose this so the fans rise up and all this. And I've always stuck to my gun saying, no, I never want Tottenham to lose. Never want Tottenham to lose.
Well,
but in that situation, I probably do want Tottenham to lose.
Look, Brighton have 3 games in hand, but those games are against Newcastle, Man United, and Man City. What would you rather be in, 2 points ahead, or have 3 games in hand with those 3 games? Newcastle, Man United, and Man City is their 3 games in hand.
I probably prefer the games in hand.
Even with those games, they could
we
very
always beat Man City.
Who, Brighton?
We.
No, oh right, we always beat. Yeah, true.
What's home? What's away?
I think they're away to Brighton.
No, they are Brighton.
Sorry, away to Newcastle. I think they're all 3 of them away, actually. No, at home to Man City and away at Old Trafford, I think. No, at home. They're at home.
Well,
home games.
I'll take the games in hand then. 2 home games.
2
against
home
Man
games.
City. Yeah, I'll take the games in hand.
You take the games in hand.
What about you?
think, would I rather be in Brighton's position or our position? I'd probably rather be in Brighton's position because they got confidence in playing so well. But I think it is a tight call. I really do, because those are 3 tough games. They could easily lose all 3.
But let's be honest, in those 3 games, we picked up 4 points.
Yeah. Do you reckon they'll be above us by the end of those games in hand?
I reckon they can do a job against Man United. Man City they'll lose, and Newcastle.
They just need 1 win, but they could do 3 draws, but 2 draws and a loss, and they're not above
and you
us.
never know. Like Newcastle might be sealed in top 4 by then, and they could be a bit on the beach. So I don't know. I reckon Brighton will get minimum 3, maximum 4 kind of thing out of that.
Really, I can see them getting like 2 points.
Really?
Yeah, I can.
I can see them getting a win at home to Man United.
Liverpool
I mean,
coming
they
on strong,
completely
though.
tore Man U apart last season, didn't they?
They did. They beat them at the beginning of the season as well.
And Man United away from home against anyone in and around them, they've completely got embarrassed.
This is what we have to do now to get these Europa League spot. We have to rely on other people's results. Liverpool as well, game in
Rely on
hand.
Brighton to drop points. That's what it's come to as a Tottenham
Liverpool's game in hand is this midweek. They're playing Fulham at home, so that's probably 3
fan. Yeah,
points
that'll be
for
3
them.
points.
So that means they'll be 4 points. They'll be 5 points ahead of us after that. So that means literally we're pretty much fighting for that last Europa League spot at this point, relying on Brighton and Villa. It's going to be tough.
So Spurs, Brighton and Villa playoff for the last Europa League spot.
Looks like it, and with Brighton have 3 games in hand on both of us, it's going to go right down to the wire.
And that's what it is. Like last year, we were fighting Arsenal for the top 4 spot, the last top 4 spot. They've gone on to fight Manchester City for the title, and we're going on to fight Aston Villa and Brighton for the last Europa League spot.
Mm-hmm. It's like we want to do well to get the Europa League spot, but not too well like that we get the Conference League spot. Like if Brighton win all their games,
we're getting the Conference League, aren't we?
Yeah, it's better destined.
Anyway, let's go on to our next guest, and he goes by the name of Ross. How you doing, Ross?
Oh man, well, we've seen this movie before, haven't we?
I don't know.
Except this
3-0 down at Anfield, coming back to 3-0, hitting the bar on the post 3 times, and then just pure heartbreak.
Oh yeah, conceding goals within the first 20 minutes, and then typical away day at Anfield for us.
Yeah.
Always drama, always something. I mean, I thought I was watching WWE and Shawn Michaels doing a super kick. I mean, with that, how is that not a penalty? I mean, the man's bleeding; he has to come off. I mean, clear studs to the face, and no, but that's Liverpool for you, right there.
Exactly.
And then their fans were like, any little call, it's like how many things you people have gotten away with? But but again, as people have said, and I will say, the fight. I mean, the fight is there. I mean, to battle back. I mean, how many times have we been in these situations? Oh well, we just give up and just even more goals get scored, and we're just walking around out there. But Mason's got these guys fighting. They're fighting back, and Richie scored that goal, and I'm screaming my head off in here, probably annoying my neighbors. And then my phone alert comes through, Liverpool goal. I'm like, are you kidding me?
but Ross, after that game, all the emotions, the ups and the downs that you went through during that 90 minutes, after the game, are you coming away from that with a sense of pride because of the way we fought back, or is it ultimate dejection?
I'd say probably a little more pride that we came back. I mean, because that's not an easy place to play as for anyone. I mean, let alone us. And but it's just when you follow Spurs for long enough. I haven't followed it as long as you guys have, but you kind of you get used to the pain, So it was probably, but a little more. I felt pretty good about it with coming back. Now if we'd have lost 4-0, something like that, it would have been much worse. But you have to, regardless of how you feel about it, you have to like what the guys are doing and that they're fighting back and they're trying to get something back.
Yeah, it's But when you concede the goals like we did today, like just again, like Lucas Moura's individual error, how we were all at sea again after 15 minutes, like is it a case of you only got yourself to blame, like with these backline, with those goals you're conceding?
Yeah, definitely, and that's the whole thing. Is if we just concede less goals, we might win some of these games. It's not like we don't have to, you don't concede any, just concede a couple less. I mean, you don't give away that pen or one of those goals they don't score. What happens then, So it's not something that, and I think that's what's frustrating, is it's not anything too complex. It's just the simple fact of we just have to be better defensively. We don't have to be a brick wall. We just have to be basically good. But also, what's the alternatives? Sanchez, Tanganga. I mean, he hasn't really shown much, and I don't really think we even have any other defenders on the bench
Yeah.
besides them, do we?
No,
So,
I don't think so.
there you go. Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. And in terms of Ryan Mason, from what he's shown in the last couple of games, the fight that we have shown in the second half, albeit has been a bit similar from the first half of both the games, is he throwing his hat in the ring at the moment?
I think so. Absolutely. I mean, this is his second stint as a caretaker manager, and he's done well. I mean, he really seems to know how to get something out of these guys. I mean, albeit maybe a little bit later, but it's happening. They seem to want to play for him. They want to do what he's asking them to do, and that's all you can ask of a manager is to get them to do that. Like as others though, Nagelsmann is who I do want. I don't really think he's quite ready yet, but if things don't fall our way and he ends up getting the job, I mean I wouldn't be completely upset by that.
And there's two players today in Perisic and Porro. It was interesting how the game went for both of them because it felt like we saw the best and worst of them throughout the 90 minutes. And they're two players who have come under a lot of criticism this season, maybe mostly for how they've defended. But does it go to show today, like when we do start to attack and do start to get men forward and play in that kind of way, like how effective those two players can be? And maybe if we had a more progressive manager, we would see different performances from those players.
Oh, sure. I mean, wingbacks, especially if you're playing this formation, as I said before, wingbacks are the key. I mean, when our wingbacks play well, we typically play well. It's just so important to get those guys down there, getting forward, getting dangerous, crosses into the box. And, like they say about Poro's an offensive wingback all the way. I mean, he almost could be a play up top at the wing. He's not a defender. He just isn't. And, Perisic is a little more technical. But, and he has done better. And I think Mason is kind of using him a little bit better and having him do things he's more comfortable doing. But, I mean, it's definitely, they're the key to everything if you can get forward.
All right. In terms of Europa League, Ross, do you think we can get it? Or are you thinking we've got too much to do?
You never know with Spurs, man. Just when you think, oh, it's over and done, just like today, you think it's done, and then here we go, we come back. There's always a chance. The next couple teams we play aren't too bad. I mean, Villa is playing real well with Mr. Good Evening there, and some of the other clubs, we can't take anybody lightly, but it's there. I mean, the opportunity's there, and it's going to come down to the end, just like it always seems to.
All right, Ross, thank you for coming on today, my friend, and we shall speak to you next time.
Always a pleasure, guys. Come on,
Always.
you Spurs.
Come on. Big up Ross over there. We're just lining up our next guest, but there are a couple of super chats, so let's just get through them. Tom Witten says, Sonny is coming into form. Dyer looks like he doesn't want to play. Big up to Grandpa. And he's right. Sonny is coming into form now, finally, this season, isn't he?
Yeah. What's the? I'm trying to let me look at his. Let me see if I can get his stats up because I know he's obviously scored in the last two games. He scored in.
He scored 4 goals in his last 5 games.
Yeah, there you go. 4 goals and 1 assist. And even going back further, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And in his last 10 games, he's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 6 goals and 2 assists in his last 10 games. So definitely a lot better form than he was showing at the beginning of the season. Very, very positive. I always thought Sonny in this kind of game, when there's space in the Liverpool defence to attack, he's going to be the danger man. And I think he was
against Liverpool, doesn't he?
He always has a good game, and he could have scored more than a goal today. He would be annoyed if he came away having not scored with the chances he had. So luckily he did get that goal. Really well taken as well. Seemed like the old Sonny, with that confidence he had today.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I think it's just one notch down from the old Sonny. It's because the old Sonny probably would have got 2 goals today. But apart from that, yeah, I completely agree. Rosh HID with the super chat says, you can't expect to succeed if you only put in the work on the days you feel like it. Put the work from the start, not after conceding 3 goals. That's also pretty spot on, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess. I don't know what he means by only putting the work on the days you feel like it. I don't know what's that supposed
Well,
to
he
mean?
clarifies after. He says, put in the work from the start, not after conceding 3 goals.
Oh, I see. Like, okay, fine. Yeah, definitely right. And that's it. Like, we can praise the players for fighting back, but why are you 3-0 down after 15 minutes? Like, you can't get away from that at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's true. All right, let's bring on our next guest. Fresh from Anfield, we've got Barry. And Barry, did we find something inside so strong tonight, or what?
No, I'll tell you what, you can hear from my voice, I'm absolutely broken. Right, we were, the away fans, fair play to us all because we sang our hearts out. I don't know what you could hear on the TV, but people were saying we were louder than the Liverpool fans. And if I was a Liverpool fan, this atmosphere at Anfield is an absolute embarrassment. They were 3-0 up. They weren't cheering. They weren't singing. We were, shall we sing a song for you? And it was like football in a library. It was horrendous. Liverpool should be absolutely embarrassed by their fans' performance. But look, second half, the players did find something inside so strong. It's just unfortunate that, things went against us again. And that result is Tottenham Hotspur all over, right?
Yeah, it is. I don't know if you've got to see it again because we spoke just after the final whisper. Have you seen that Ollie skip and Jota, the high foot and studs in the face?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it again. Look, I know we spoke about it. Look, and I said to you, look, in real time, I didn't think that was a sending off. Obviously, listening to Talk Sport on the way back, everyone was going in saying it should have been a red card. Obviously, they played Ryan Mason's thoughts on it. Should have been a red card. Obviously, we spoke about Skippy's challenge on Luis Diaz. Look, I don't think there was anything in that challenge in real time. I thought, we were going mad. We were asking him to, get up from, being on the pitch. But look, I think if that was another player, if that was let's say a Casemiro or a Romero, then I think that would have been given as a red card based on previous history. Let's just say. So look, I don't think it was. I think, look, again, I know we spoke about the Rishi and the penalty. I think it was probably soft, but I think if it was given, I don't think VAR's overturning it. But what's the point in VAR? It's there to help. I don't think it's done anything today. In true fashion, there was no. I mean, I don't even know if VAR looked at anything today because there was nothing in the stadium that told us that VAR was looking at any decision. But look, it was so near, but so far again. What was really good today is that there was the passion, that the players were together. When Richie scored, I mean, there was bodies everywhere. There was obviously the players came running. I don't know if you saw it on the TV. Players were running down from the bench. There does seem to be a togetherness in the squad. I just think that we just can't afford to start the games the way we've been starting them.
Yeah, Barry, talking about the start of the game, you were there. 3-0 after 15 minutes, the Sky cameras went over to the crowd and there was shots of a few fans leaving. How many fans do you reckon did actually leave after 15 minutes?
Well, there wasn't that many around where we were. Obviously, there was some guy on Talk Sport talking that he left after 7 minutes. I don't really think. Look, I think the fans made it comical. We were singing 3-0 up, and we lose every week. We lose every week. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We lose every week. So look, we were having fun with it, right? And then we were singing like, let's pretend we've scored a goal. And we went, way, you know. So look, we were having fun with it, right? There were obviously there was a lot of Levy out chants. There was a lot of just before obviously we got Kane scored. There was "You're not fit to wear the shirt" of the players, and look, fair play to them. They responded in that second half. It was just unfortunate that we saw the good, the bad, and the ugly again of Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, that first half. I mean, Eric Dyer. If we give this man a new contract, it's an absolute disgrace. He was passing it to Liverpool players. He had no idea what was going on. Look, Perisic was getting turned inside and out by Salah and Trent on that side. I mean, we talk about Emerson with his no-look pass. Fuck me, Porro was no-look defending in that first half. It was just a shambles. But for me, I guess until he went off, Oliver Skipp had a great game again. He seems to be doing really good. Romero, such a stupid tackle to give away that penalty, which was a penalty. I know some people were saying, "Oh, it was on the line and everything else." It was a clear penalty. And Liverpool were just clinical in that first half, and then we got the goal, and we were, even when we're 3-0 down, we were singing, "We're going to win this 4-3." And you know what? I wouldn't have put it past us if there'd been again, like we said the other week, if there'd been another 10 minutes maybe. What could we have done? So it was, it was just.
And
so
then
near,
Lucas says to you, Barry, hold my beer.
Oh man, I don't know why Porro came off. Look, I know why Perisic came off, because he was struggling, right? Porro, I'm not sure why he came off, because he was in that second half. He was devastating on that right hand side, and actually, until we got that second goal, you wouldn't have seen it on TV, but Longley was going to come on, and Richarlison literally lost his shit on the sidelines, because obviously he was getting boos from Liverpool fans because of everything with his connection to Everton. Then we scored the second goal. Then just before that, they said, right, bring on Richarlison, bring on Danjuma, or he brought on Richarlison, then Danjuma, more a little bit later. But the fans were going mad, like, come on, man, this game is here. We can see it, we can sense it, we can feel it. And when he came on, we all sat there and goes, Richie's going to come up and he's going to do the business, right? And he did it. And then Lucas Moura, man, what the hell, man? So again, just like against Man United, when Tanganga came on instead, when we thought that's a bit strange, Moura coming on for Porro was a bit strange. I understand Perisic, but not for Porro. But it's just frustrating because we hit the post twice. Obviously, there was the one when Sonny was offside. There was the clearance from Van Dijk, who, how the hell he got that off the line is beyond me. It's just so close, fine margins. And going back to your Europa Conference League thingy, if West Ham win, it goes down to 8th place. So
no, I don't think it does. I think if West Ham win, I think they go into the Europa League, and then 7th stays at Conference League, I believe. So England will have another team in Europe.
Okay, because when I was reading it earlier, it said it can go up to 8, so it'll be 4 and 4.
Don't know how that works.
But who knows? Well, I don't know how that works. But let's.
What, Europa? You saying Europa League would go down to 8th?
I don't know. Well, no, because West Ham would get what? They win the Conference League, they get Europa League.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? All I know is that we have some breaking news after the game. The Emerson Royale haircut is happening, people. I know I said if we get top 4, that's happening. I spoke to the wife. She said it's fine. We need to do it. We need to have some joy in this football club. So we need to plan it in, book it in. Some Liverpool fans going back down south. Liverpool fans as well, by the way. Absolute embarrassment when they started talking about Richarlison. They're like, oh, Richarlison, 60 million. And I was like, mate, your atmosphere is embarrassing. 10 years people have been talking about your atmosphere doing like that. They played You Never Walk Alone, and we were singing, sign on, with a pen in your hand, because you'll never get a job. We drowned them out. The whole game, man. The whole game. So, look, I'm done. I'm completely exhausted. My voice is done. And look, I'm proud. I'm proud of the boys, the way they come back. Look, at least we've seen in the last 2 games that's the fight. That's the Tottenham Hotspur that we know. We just need to think that we're coming out in the second half and we're 3-0 down maybe, or 2-0 down. Maybe they'll start a little bit better, because that's been the problem, that they can't handle it when they get knocked out, when we conceded. And we were sat there and we were like, here we go again. But look, it was a fantastic away day. The away fans were brilliant as always. And look, I think we just need to, if we can replicate what happens with those away fans in that stadium, then we just need to go and do that for the next 4 games. You know, the 2 games at home. We know Villa away, we know Leeds away are going to be loud, but for Palace and Brentford, we just need to be loud, and we need to support them, and support them, because they took, to be fair, the amount of flack they got after being 3-0 down, to turn that around was pretty special.
All right, Barry, have a safe trip back, my friend, and we'll see you very soon.
Big up, guys. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Wolves Fee in the chat said, member for 16 months, says Levy out, and I'm also out as well now. Well, that's a shame, because you're going to be missing Mr. Daigle, who is coming on next. So let's bring him on. Brian, you don't have that dangerous look on you that you had in the last couple of games. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, listen, I'm still very annoyed, and we'll get into it. But first of all, I have to say, on the train home, because I was out for Ben's birthday, it's Ben Kaufman's birthday tomorrow, so we went out, and my mate Fabian joined us. So I was watching it on the way home, your reactions to the goal. And I have to say, I can't decide who won the Ben and Simeon annual Pigeon off. Ben went first and put in some mighty effort into his Pigeon, but I think Simeon, your neck work and shoulders were more Richarlison, so you might have to have another.
How many times did you watch it, Brian? How many times did you watch it to gauge the this reaction?
Well, I called in VAR. I'm waiting for them to come back, but I think I've watched it about 3 or 4 times to get the. To get it, and I can't decide. So I think we need to have a second leg, or hopefully you'll score again and you get to do it. So we'll check it. But everyone, I recommend people going back to watch that video and putting in who won the Pigeon off. But yeah, how are you guys?
Yeah, I mean, don't really know how to feel about that, because obviously the first moments of the game was shocking, as it has been for the previous couple of games. But I'm very happy and proud with the fight that we did show coming back from 3-0 down. I mean, you're not going to find, well, no team has come back from 3-0 down to draw at Anfield before in the Premier League. Obviously, we let it slip in the last minute, but you got to commend the fight.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I've been on here on many channels before saying that we need open heart surgery in that defence. We don't need open heart surgery. We need to find a donor to replace that heart, because the heart is dead. The defence is an absolute disgrace. And one thing Grandpa said that I completely agree with, I always believe that a team should play to their strengths. And our strength is most definitely going forward. But instead of playing to our strengths, we play to defend our weak, or to kind of stop our weakness. And I think that's where we're going severely wrong. Like you said, once we went 3-0 down, we showed some fight. There's no debate there. We showed some fight. I think Liverpool stepped off a little bit at 3-0, but that's not to deter from what we did. What I will say is after that 3-0 at 30 minutes, I said to Ben that I think Tottenham should get naming rights with Pizza Hut or Domino's, because they give refunds if their pizza's not delivered in 30 minutes. So I think that's what's our away games. We should go into a naming right for pizza with Domino's or pizza. But yeah, listen, that defence, it's just an absolute shambles. And you look at it, if you look at our away games recently, the last goal against Wolves, right at the end, conceding that equaliser against Everton, conceding 2 at Southampton, 5 at Newcastle, we all know about it in that time, and 6 in total, and 3 here in the. It's not acceptable.
Sheffield United as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, this has got to stop. We're either conceding loads bloody early, or not being able to see the job through at the end, And it was awful awful.
Both like today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, only like that. Only Spurs, like you said, Ben. No one's come down from 3-0 down at Anfield to get a tie. We're on the cusp of doing it, and then we're like, oh no.
Lucas Bloody Moura, Brian, eh?
I mean, the fact he's getting on the pitch when we know he's leaving, the fact he's coming on the pitch. I mean, again, I have to say, people are talking. I'm agreeing with people now that Porro may not be the answer at right back in a back four or right wing back, but Kulusevski needs to be dropped. I'm sorry, play Porro because you can see what he can do offensively. And I think if you take the shackles off of him and not having to be so reliant on defending, kind of like when we had Ginola, you're like, just stay up there. Don't come back.
I don't know if you can compare Porro to Ginola.
No,
mate.
I'm not saying skill-wise, but I'm saying he couldn't defend. So Spurs were like, just stay up there. So when we get the ball, we can give it to you. And we didn't rely on him coming back. Porro defensively can't do it. He's all at sea. Whether that's setting into the new system, Ariane said he's like this at Sporting. He's offensive. He's a very offensive-minded player. And you're seeing his qualities. Can anyone recall something he's done well defensively?
Well, Brian, what I would say, Brian, he's still a young player, and surely if he keeps making these mistakes, he'll learn from these mistakes after time goes on. And Sim brought up a good point last week when we were talking. Kyle Walker, he was shocking defensively when he first joined here and for the first few years, and he improved dramatically under good management. So can you not say Porro might do the same?
Yeah, he might do it, but at that time with Kyle Walker, we had Pochettino there for 4 years. If Porro's here for 4 years, he'd probably have 15 managers. So,
but I agree with that point, Brian. That's the whole thing. You need stability, don't you? And that's not what we offer.
We do. And I'm going to throw my head. Mason definitely should not be. We shouldn't be talking about him as bloody manager. Listen, it's all well and good showing the fight. We've got 1 point from 6. It's all well and good. Also what I will say, and that's not just solely down to Mason, this is the players. The way I'm looking at it right now, if we're in Europa League, Conference League, or not even Europe at all, let's just say, players want to come and play for a manager with a name. I'm not saying but you look at it, they want to come and they're enticed by working under this manager. I'm sorry, and who's going to say, yeah, do you know what? I think I can grow and develop under Ryan Mason. And that's not his fault. I'm not having to dig at Mason. He's not ready. Maybe like Ariane said, with the next manager, again, he's assistant for a long time. And then he's like heir to the throne. But I just can't see how we could say he could be manager right now.
I don't know, Brian. You say that, but Man United signed really good players under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Arsenal have signed good players under Mikel Arteta.
Ollie was a legend.
Yes, but
Ollie is a legend. Yeah, he's a Man United legend as a player, not as a manager.
Legend.
But
he's a
knew Zinchenko, he knew Gabriel. He was also
exactly, and
very
got
different.
everything. Yeah, and you look at those, those players, those managers were given money and trust and the final say on what happens.
Yeah,
not going to happen here, and I just don't think. Listen, I think. We could all say, yes, he's brilliant. He bleeds Tottenham. He's Tottenham. But then in the same breath, I hear people say, well, we can't play Japhet Tanganga because he's worse than what we've got. But he bleeds Tottenham, like Mason. And then you look at it, I would have Tanganga in tomorrow over Dyer. I really would. What? Because Salini said it, Conte said it, everyone's saying it. These players keep making the same mistakes. There's no accountability.
Yeah.
There's none. So do you know what? Japhet Tanganga could come in at centre-back. Like I said, I call him Google Street Map because all we do is whenever there's a bloody defensive position that needs filled, we just pick him up and plop him there. He doesn't get a consistent run in the team. I would have Japhet Tanganga starting against Palace. What? He could do worse than Dyer? I don't see how. He could do worse than what Romero's doing? I don't see how.
Yeah.
I don't see how.
Brian, based off the last 2 games under Mason now, we're in a real dogfight for that Europa League spot if we want it. Yep. Do you think we can get it, or do you think we've got too much to do?
As I said, I don't really care. We know what's going to happen now. It's going to come to the point where it's oh, we haven't got Champions League money coming in, so we can't spend, we can't do this, we can't do that, and all this nonsense is going to come out. And I'm trying to work out how this works. If we go Thursday to Sunday, which is obviously like Europe with Tuesday or Wednesday to Saturday, I just don't see with this squad we need such a major overhaul. That do we have the squad to be able to compete in all these whether it be the Europa League or the Conference League, or just go out of Europe for a season, hopefully only a season, deal with what we have to deal with, and then when we're ready, also when there's a better squad depth, go for it. Because at the moment, when it comes down to the money, I couldn't give a monkeys how much Spurs earn or lose out of Europe. We're not going to get Champions League because, once again, we haven't backed a manager, we haven't listened to a manager, we haven't listened to a director of football, and we're paying the consequences. So I don't see what benefit we get from being in Europe. I really don't. So
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I don't see. I mean, because then we're going to get told you can't buy Champions League quality players when you're in the Europa League. Well, Arsenal got Zinchenko and Jesus. Manchester United got Anthony, Casemiro, Martinez.
Yep.
But there's a reason why we can't do it, apparently, because something only happens in Tottenham, funnily enough. But yeah, like I said, God knows what we'd be doing without Harry Kane. If that man goes in the summer, we are so screwed. So screwed. But
we are screwed if Harry Kane goes. But I did actually want to talk to you about Heung-min Son. 4 goals in his last 5 games. Is he back on form now? Is Sonny back?
So as I've said, I'll always stand up and say when I think I'm wrong, when I've been wrong, and credit is due. And I've given Heung-min Son a lot of heat this season, and I think some of it is justified. But there's no denying he's playing with a spring in his step and a bounce. Today I'll probably label as his best performance of the season. I think he was really, really good. Unlucky with hitting the post twice. He just looked like a weight had been off his mind, and that's what you want to see. When Sonny's in that frame of mind, he's unstoppable. But like I said, I believe that he deserves some of the criticism. But today and recently, he certainly deserves a hell of a lot of praise. And I'll stand up and say that. I think he was really, like I said, I think he was our best player today. By far. By far. So fair play to Sonny. And we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully he can finish with a flurry and get some confidence and everything back, and we go from there. But he was very, very good today, without a doubt.
All right, Brian, thanks for coming on today, my friend, and we shall speak to you very soon.
You certainly will. And as always, Levy out.
Big up. All right, who is up next? Look who we've got. We've got Aravind. How you doing, Aravind?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
You can or you can't?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Jesus
How are you?
Christ. Oh my goodness me. I was celebrating the Richarlison goal in the middle and they just scored. Oh my. This new things discovered week in and week out from this club. Oh my goodness me. I don't know what, I don't know whether to laugh, whether to be happy, or this is a new high for this club. I think so. There's a lot of things going around in the club, and a lot of things needs to be solved right now.
Yeah, definitely the back line is the first port of call. What was your feeling after 15 minutes? Were you thinking, here we go again? This is the same thing all over again like last week? Or was there a different feel to it?
I mean, a lot of people are blaming Lucas Moura. Yeah, I agree with the fact that he made a blunder mistake, but we can't go. This whole season has been we go down 2-0, 3-0, and then we need to come back. This should never happen in the first place. We should never come back in a game week in and week out. An odd game is okay, like here once in a while. And whatever Conte said is reflecting. No one knows how to play under pressure. That's the main thing. When there's pressure put on us, Whenever there's no pressure on us, that's when we thrive, and that's something we can see. When you're 3-0 down, that's when we start to play the game because there's no pressure that time, and the other opponents just back off a bit, and that's when we start to play. But when we play from the start of the game and there's pressure, they don't know what to do. That's one of them. But the factor which comes on that fact is because the quality of the players at the back is very weak. We need to. I keep on saying there's something called. I'm going to read. I keep on saying it's called as Project Restart. We need to restart from the whole thing, from everything, and it needs to start from the top, from the recruitment side to the who's the manager, who's going to take care of everything. That needs to start one by one by one, and it's going to be a long whole process. I feel it's a long whole process. It's this club to even come back to stability. It's going to take 3-4 years, but I don't trust Levy to do it. That's the main factor for me.
Is Mason the person to head this process?
I mean, I keep on saying this on Twitter and every channel. I don't want Ryan Mason to be the manager for us, and I don't want Vincent Kompany to be the manager for us. A lot of people are hyping Vincent Kompany. He's managing Burnley in the Championship. If you're going to rate that manager, why don't we rate managers like Thomas Frank, managers like even Graham Potter, right? People's what's the difference between Potter and Vincent Kompany? Both of them haven't managed in a top. When you go to a top club, it's different. When Vincent Kompany comes to Tottenham Hotspur, it's a different pressure, a different ball game when he's managing Burnley, and they haven't done it in the past. We should stop making that type of mistakes. If you want to get a manager who's managed at a top club, then you should go get managers like Enrique who can play our style of football, or you need to go get managers like Julian Nagelsmann who has managed at a top club, who knows how to handle pressure when there's an important game, how to manage it. This is what needs to be done, and I feel that sort of managers we need to get, or if you really want to get a manager who can handle that pressure, we need to scout them really well, or managers like Thomas Frank, if you think he can manage that pressure. It's a different ball game out of here. Ryan Mason, as much as I don't know what he's going to be in a few years' time. I'm not going to judge him right now. But as of now, these are not the managers we need to get. We need to get someone who can play our style and also can handle that pressure. Both needs to come into the factor. But that is only one segment of it. We need to back them up with a good set of recruitment. If we're not gonna do that, there's no point of having any managers right now. That's the first thing we need to get sorted before getting a manager. We need to get it as a whole. If we're getting Nagelsmann, and if we can get Ralph Ragnick with him, then yes. If you're getting Arne Slot, and he wants to work with him, that needs to be done. It's high time Daniel Levy, if he's going to be here, he either needs to step down from the footballing side, just totally get out, or just resign from the chairman post. Sorry. It's high time he keeps doing this, or sell the club. Do any three of these things. 22 years, he's not got anything right, and I wrote off this season. I'm more worried about the next season. Let's be really honest. Tanguy Ndombele, Lo Celso, Reguilon, Harry Winks, Joe Rodon. These 5 players are coming back on loan. On top of that, we're thinking of replacing Dyer, Davis, Jaffet, Tanganga. Come on, let's really be honest. It's high time we need to get, we don't get players out of the club, and there's a lot of players on this club being here for a huge amount of time. I feel we need to restart with new players, new recruitment. Everything needs to start from the whole. Something needs to change from everything, and if we don't do that, we're going to see the same results. It's not good.
In terms of results, we have 4 games left now from now to the end of the season. Palace, Villa, Brentford and Leeds. There's a real dogfight now to get in, even in Europa League. Top 4's obviously gone at this point.
To be really honest, as much as we want to win and get Europe, I just want this season to finish out of Europe. 1 game per week. Start with something with few players coming into the squad next season, with some youngsters, with a management and everything. Let's play 1 game a week, for this 1 year, just play one game a week. We don't have the squad yet to play these 2 games. We're not yet ready to win trophies right now. All we need is, as Harry Kane said in the interview, what is Spurs' identity? Let's first. I want that to come back. I want that to come back to this club. What is our style of football? What are we good at? We need to get that started, and that needs to start with the defense. We need to start that with the defense. I don't think our attack is that much bad. Our midfield is okay. Some few players need to come, but it needs to start with the defense. But majorly start with a style of what we are. What is this football club? I can't identify anything. There's nothing which is a good. Only good thing I would say is that Richarlison getting that goal. Hopefully, he kickstarts his Spurs career.
All right, Aravind, thanks for coming on today, my friend. And we'll speak to you soon.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on. Let's keep going, guys. Next up is Brandon. Looks like his internet isn't great, but we'll give it a go. Brandon, how's it going, man?
Oh, no, my internet's not good.
He's moving like Eric Dyer.
Yeah, moving like Eric Dyer today, Brandon. What's going on?
What's going on? Oh, hold on.
Look, Brandon, just try reconnecting. Maybe we'll try and get it back on. Is he the last one?
No, there's one more, I think.
Okay, so maybe we'll come back to Brandon. We'll try coming off and coming on again.
All right. We do have one other guest. We've got Michael in the back end as well. Last 2 callers of the day. We're just lining him up, so he'll be with us in a second. But yeah, let's bring him on. Yes, Michael, how's it going, my friend?
I'm here for the therapy sessions, boys. Talk to me. Talk to me. I am so deflated after this game, and the worst thing is, after many games recently, I've been coming on, smiling, laughing and saying, I didn't really give a crap. I didn't give a crap. I'm done or whatever, right? I got sucked in today. I got absolutely sucked into this game today. And I am fuming today. I am absolutely, guys, talk to me, please. Calm me down.
Michael, we go... Is it almost worse what happened today than what happened at Newcastle? Because at least at Newcastle, we knew after 20 minutes, game set, match done, we knew where we stood. Today, they drew us back in. They got it back from 3-0 down to 3-0. And then Lucas Moura does what Lucas Moura does. So, I mean, it seems to me that you're feeling worse after today than Newcastle.
Much worse, and I am serious about it. I'm much worse today than I was after Newcastle. I swear. First of all, I think we got absolutely robbed, and it's a joke what happened this game. How can a player take a kick to the face, be bleeding all over his face, and the player who made the offense doesn't get sent off and scores the winner? That's absolutely like shambolic decision making for me. I don't understand how this can happen in the best league in the world, right? How, riddle me that, guys. That's the main reason I am pissed off today, because listen, first 20 minutes was a bloody joke, right? I don't mind conceding 1 goal at Anfield, in the opening 20 minutes. I seriously don't mind, right? It can happen, right? Liverpool are a great team, even though they have a bad season. Conceding 1 goal in the opening 20 minutes against Liverpool, fine, right? Conceding 2. Okay, shit happens, sometimes you get unlucky, right? But to concede 3 again in the first 20 minutes, boys, that's a joke. That's an absolute joke. This defense is a joke. And I am sick and tired of telling that. I am saying this for over a year on different channels, on your own channel, on David Harris, on Tottenham Away, I was even once on Sabah's channel. I was on Will Stewart's channel. All those channels. I'm saying this over and over and over and over again. This defense is bad. It's shit. It's absolute dross. I am sick and tired of watching some of those players play the game. Eric Dyer today, it's hard for me to say that this was his worst performance of the season because he had so many, but I legit think it's one of his worst performances of the season. Like the amount of times this guy passed the ball to Liverpool players is beyond my understanding. How can a professional footballer make so many mistakes in such a short span of time? I don't understand it. I seriously struggle to understand how this player is the way he is.
Look, Michael, however disgusting the first opening 20 minutes was today, however disgusting the opening 20 minutes was against Newcastle and the opening stages against Manchester United, do you commend the fight back that the players shown,
Yes.
the pride and the heart that after coming back, after being 3-0 down?
Yes, I do. Listen. On one hand, I think it's a bit of a joke that they cannot, start the game focused, right?
Yeah.
Just it's hard for me to understand how can we concede 3 goals in 20 minutes, get absolutely battered for the first half, and they just switch like that. Just switch from being one of the worst teams in the league to actually outplaying Liverpool at their own ground. At second half, we absolutely outplayed Liverpool. I don't care what everyone says, chat can banter, oh, what trophy did you win for that? Oh, Liverpool won in the end, whatever, right? We outplayed Liverpool at their own ground today. And we should have won that game. I think we deserved to win that game, right? I am absolutely destroyed after that game, but I can commend the attacking patterns that we did, the amount of pressure we've put on them while they were building up their own play, right? The pressing that we did, even though we aren't like the fastest and the most mobile front line in the league. I can seriously like give credit for that, because I think the boys actually did well today in the second half, right? But why is it always like this, that we can only do that in the second half? It's the same problem that was present when Conte was here, right? I find I cannot understand it, right? It's almost as if when they play under pressure, they crumble, just what Conte said, right? And as soon as the pressure is off, meaning you are 3 down at Anfield, what do you got to lose, right? You can lose 4-0, but what difference does it make, right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly they switch off and play like they can, like they should, right? They are Tottenham Hotspur, not Sheffield United or Burnley or whatever, right? With all due respect to those teams, right? But we, on paper, are the 6th biggest team and the 6th best team in the league, right? And they play like they today, right? So I wish I could answer this why is it happening, right? But it's because it doesn't make any logic.
In terms of the comeback today, Michael, how much do you put it down to Tottenham improving, and how much do you put it down to Liverpool getting complacent as to the comeback?
I think it's a bit of both, honestly. Like, of course, right? If you are 3-0 up, you can get a bit, like laid back, take things more carefully, whatever, right? But I actually think, again, a bit of credit to Mason. I think his changes actually made proper impact. I really liked seeing Sarr today on the pitch. I think he actually played quite well. I think that we, by switching to 3 in the midfield, as I said, we were allowed to put pressure on their midfield, which, if you look at like Liverpool, their weak point is probably their midfield right now. So by switching to 3 in the middle, we put pressure on them, and I appreciated it, right? But the issue is, again, why can't we do this from the start? I get why we can do the 3 in the middle from the start, because we only have 3 fit midfielders, right? So we can't put all 3 of them on the pitch, because then if one of them gets injured, we are screwed, right? But in terms of like our front line, I think they wasted a couple of amazing opportunities today. But even so, I still think we should have and could have at least drawn that game or even won it, right?
Yeah, and on Mason, right, you talk about the tactical flexibility, making good changes, but the one change that he did make that really did impact that game was the Lucas Moura change. I mean, Lucas Moura's last 5 minutes for Tottenham Hotspur, he comes on against Everton. Within 2 minutes, he's sent off with an ankle-high studs-up challenge. He gets sent off. And then today, it was like the best assist we've seen today, right?
Yeah. Lucas, man, I love you. You are one of the reasons why I support this club. I kid you not. Look, whatever Lucas did at Amsterdam is one of the reasons why I am here, right? But man, come on, like this is enough, right? I don't want to like scream and shout. I don't want to blame him for everything, but this game and the Everton game, it's on your head, mate. Sorry, like you should have done better. You should have been better in that situation, right? And it seriously kills me to say that, but
he got brought on the 89th minute today. 1 minute of normal time, and he goes and screws up the game. But back on Ryan Mason, I mean, is he putting his hat in the ring, or is it just too early in his career for that?
I can commend him for making a proper decision with the changes, right? I don't. That game is not his fault. I will fight for it, right? That's not his fault that we lost that game. But I think it's too early, as you correctly pointed out. I think just for his own sake, for his own credibility, I think it would have been good for him to take more time, maybe take a bit of a lower profile job, try to, gain more experience, because still when it comes to fighting with the best of the best, they will exploit your mistakes, right? If you are inexperienced, you make naive mistakes, the managers like Klopp, Pep, when their squads are fit, when they know what they are doing, they have their teams organized, whatever, they will exploit the mistakes that you make, right? So for me, I would appreciate it if Mason, I don't mind Mason being the coach in like, I don't know, a couple of years, like 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, right? But not now. I think it's too early for me.
Fair enough.
Definitely.
But Michael, I hope you got your values worth on your therapy today, but thank you for coming on, and we'll see you next time.
Pleasure speaking with you, boys. Thank you.
Always.
Bye, guys.
See you soon. Is Brandon back? His internet still looks very choppy. It's a shame because Brandon, he answered the call. We called him up. And unfortunately, his internet is very poor. I don't know. Maybe because the audio sounds all right. All right, bring him on. And we're not going to ask you any questions. Yeah, we can hear you. We're not going to ask you any questions, Brandon. Just give us your review.
All right, let me go. All right. The way I describe the Antonio Conte experience is like receiving the most beautiful handcrafted cake, digging into it, but then forgetting that you're allergic to flour, icing, sugar, eggs, basically all the ingredients needed to make a scrumptious cake. And then the way I describe the Christian Stellini experience would be like receiving a miniature cupcake, diving in, and then remembering once again you're allergic to the cake. But then there's the Ryan Mason experience. The Ryan Mason experience. The way in which I would describe the Ryan Mason experience would be good old porridge. Is it flashy? No. Are you going to write about it home to mom? No. Will you tell stories of Masonic grandeur to your grandchildren one day? No. But it's good for you. Sometimes you need a little porridge in a day anew. Ryan Mason is porridge. Eat that porridge. I got a big old bowl of porridge here. Hey, we got to eat the porridge. And then
Don't put it over your head this time.
I'll try not to. It'll be that'd be a little droopy. But when you think about Daniel Levy, I actually have on reliable intel that Daniel Levy's mother was indeed an ostrich. And he was born an egg that never happened. And they drew a face on there, and they tried for years to pretend it's human. To pretend it has a soul, a conscionable soul, but no. It's a Humpty Dumpty egg walking around, and he's gonna fall! We're gonna fall right down with him.
Oh, I think he's cut off.
Is he still there? I don't know.
Brandon, I wish you had proper internet there because that was some really great stuff. But hopefully next time we'll be able to get you on properly. But as of today, well, we got a super chat from Jory and he says Dyer hides usually, but if he's involved, it's worse. And I'd have to agree with that. But look, I think that is it from us today. There is no more guests, is there? No. Yeah. So we'll see you all tomorrow where we'll delve even deeper into what happened on that pitch at Anfield. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Brandon with the super chat quickly before we go. He says Levy cut his connection. Classic Levy. But look, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on you Spurs.